My name is Blake Moore, Natural Resources Extension Agent.
Hey, I'm Dan Severson, Ag Agent.
Hi, I'm Jake Jones, Kent County Ag Agent for the University of Delaware Cooperative Extension. Welcome to Extension 302.
So welcome to Extension 302. My name's Blake. I'm here with Dan the Milkman Severson.
Hello.
And Jake the Face Jones.
Hi, everyone.
So today we're going to be talking about the Delaware Master Gardener program. We have what I like to call the MG crew with us today, and a little background on Master Gardener programs nationwide. So the model for the Master Gardener program was developed in 1972 at the Washington State University's Cooperative Extension Service. They created it in response to an overload of home and urban gardening questions, which I'm sure all of the agents with us today know exactly how that feels and how much of a help it is to have folks helping us out in that regard. And so basically the program is where volunteers commit to intensive training on a variety of topics, especially surrounding gardening needs. The program can be found nationwide and it's even international now. So the Delaware Master Gardener program came into existence back in 1986, and I was just experiencing my fifth spring on this earth. So it's been around quite a while. The University of Delaware Cooperative Extension and Delaware State University Cooperative Extension partnered to make sure that this program comes to life. Over the years, the program has grown to provide Delawareans with almost 300 master gardeners throughout the state, and they commit to over 20,000 volunteer service hours per year. So today we have the MG crew with us. Fearless leaders of the Delaware Master Gardener family are Newcastle County Coordinator Carrie Murphy.
Hi, Blake. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being with us. We also have our Kent County Coordinator with us today, Megan Pleasanton.
Hey, Blake, how you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. And not able to make it with us today is Tracy Wooden. She actually is the Sussex County Coordinator. And I'm sure if you've done anything with Master Gardeners, you have run across Tracy. She is an awesome addition to this program and it wouldn't be the same without her. Absolutely. And then we're going to throw it up to Dan. Dan is the icebreaker man as well.
All right, so spring is sprung, and when I think of spring, I think of brunch. Carrie and Megan, I want to know, what is your favorite brunch menu item? And it can be a beverage, a liquid, or a solid, your choice. I mean, I honestly prefer the Deer Park Bloody Mary bar, but hey.
I have been recently addicted to pancakes, and it was something that I never really liked until just recently, but I've been doing like a banana walnut pancake for brunch, and that's my favorite right now for sure.
Miss Megan?
Wow, that's pretty hard to top there. But for me, I guess good old fashioned scrambled eggs and cheese. We have chickens here, so I have an ample amount of eggs at my fingertips, so they have to get used up. So I'd say that's probably my favorite brunch menu item.
Man, now you've got me hungry. Where's the nearest brunch right now? All right. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Obviously, the Master Gardener program is a great one. So how long have each of you been a part of the Delaware Master Gardener program?
So it's hard to believe, but I am celebrating my 15th year with the program. So I was hired 15 years ago, and I cover commercial hort, home hort, and coordinate the Master Gardeners. And it's been an awesome experience.
And I have actually been with the Master Gardener program for 8 years, which just seems kind of crazy to me. I feel like I just got started with Delaware State University, but I came in after Maggie Moore-Orth. She was their coordinator for 20 years, so she was a tough act to follow, but I'm happy to be here. It's a great bunch of volunteers I get to work with every day.
That's awesome. And does anybody know how long Tracy has been with the program?
I don't. I want to say that Tracy moved into the Master Gardener coordinator position just a few years before me. And so I'm going to say somewhere between 15 and 20 years with Master Gardeners.
That just goes to show you how long that you guys have been with it. And it's good to have leadership that sticks around. So it seems like you guys really like what you're doing.
Absolutely. Love what I'm doing. We have an awesome group of volunteers who work beside us on almost every project that we get involved in home gardener education. It's a great job.
We're really lucky. I mean, to be able to have volunteers that help us accomplish our goals, that's what this is about. We're lucky to have this job, really.
So now that we know who the coordinators are of the Master Gardeners, could you tell us who the Delaware Master Gardeners are?
The Delaware Master Gardeners are made up a group of like-minded individuals that help the University of Delaware and Delaware State University expand on their outreach. So the Master Gardeners take the information that is researched by both institutions, and we share that about sustainable gardening practices to the public. We provide several different services to the community, but essentially they're like our arms of outreach. So we get them the information, and then they get it to the gardeners in Delaware.
So they're basically Blake, Dan, and I, except we do it for pay, and they do it out of the goodness of their heart, right? They're volunteers.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm sure
Thank
you guys put in some volunteer time too.
For these guys to become master gardeners, what does your guys' curriculum or training, what does that look like? What type of?
So training is a commitment. We recruit volunteers to participate in the training with an understanding that they're going to commit their time for about 3 months to learning how to become a master gardener. The training includes exposure to extension, talk about outreach and education. We have a number of programs that we provide training on. Whether you're working with youth or adults, if you're going to be in the garden or at outreach events, it sort of depends on what kind of volunteer opportunities you're interested in. But the training has that focus, and then it's also just a condensed introduction to horticulture or reinforcing certain things that you might already know. So we cover integrated pest management. We go all the way back to botany. We cover soil health, vegetable production, fruit production, just about anything that you can think of that a homeowner might ask a question about related to home gardener education. We try and fit into the training. We also set up scenarios and mentorships for master gardeners to work with more experienced master gardeners. So there's a lot that happens within that 3-month period where we're providing training. And we meet twice a week. We meet 2 times for 3-hour sessions. And during that 3-hour sessions, they're getting exposure to all of the various topics. It's a real commitment. Folks usually know what they're getting involved in when they sign up for training. There is an application process. And in each county, we select a certain number of volunteers based on the county needs and also just our capacity to be able to have training. We are planning to offer training this fall, and much of that will be online. Unfortunately, we had moved some of our training online already, so we were prepared to move even more online for this training coming up.
They actually volunteer to help people, and they spend time learning content as well. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Megan mentioned, I mean, they are working alongside us in the community, whether they're answering the phones, they're responding to emails, they're at events, they're teaching workshops, and they are doing what an extension staff member would do to help us expand our reach, to get the information to more people. So they're getting a lot of different skills during that training so that they feel fully equipped after they've had some experience to do programming really on their own.
And I met some of these guys and talked to them, and a lot of it makes them feel good when they help somebody else.
Oh yeah, it feels good. It definitely feels good, especially when you get great feedback, which we do often in the Master Gardener program.
Yeah, this program is great. And, being the coordinator of the Master Naturalist program myself, it's just a testament that, people are willing to commit to that type of training just at the beginning, but that's just the beginning of the scope of their commitment overall. So to remain a Master Gardener year to year, or do you have additional requirements that they must meet every year in order to maintain certification?
So yeah, the first year after they've become not an official master gardener, but they're kind of in that intern stage, they do have to meet 40 minimum hours of volunteer time over a course of a year, plus 5 advanced training hours. So we definitely encourage more than 5, but 5 is our minimum, just to make sure that they're learning the new techniques and learning new theories that are coming out and staying current and relevant with today's trends in horticulture. Also, the master gardeners that are currently, that are serving, that haven't taken training in quite some time, they do have to have 30 hours continually, and then also that 5 hours of advanced training time. Now with COVID, of course, a lot of trainings are online, so really our master gardeners are getting more advanced training now than ever because they're at home and no one's doing anything, so they're able to just learn and learn and learn. And there's tons of online webinars and activities that are happening that hopefully we'll be able to put into action here in the future.
It's interesting, that you mentioned those minimum requirements. How many times do you have those volunteers go over those requirements? Because that's one thing I always hear, especially with Master Naturalists nationwide, is they're just so committed that time might seem like a lot, but most of the time they go way over.
Well, most of the time it's not, and I've had several master gardeners. So as they progress, I know for Kent and Sussex counties, once they get their 500 hours, they get a new name badge that is a silver name badge to indicate that they have volunteered 500 hours towards our program. And then they also go into 1,000 hours is a gold badge. So a lot of the master gardeners, like right out of training, they're like, I'm going to get my silver badge in 2 years. and they do. Some are able to, they serve on, several different committees that are time consuming, and they work their tails off to get those hours in. And it's like it's a badge of honor for them. They are very proud that they've donated that kind of time to this program.
I think that's
Amazing.
something that we try to reinforce too in recruiting volunteers for the program. Is it can be a little bit intimidating when you read through the requirements for the program, and we will provide examples just like the one that Megan provided, that there are a number of volunteers who go way over the requirements, putting in 100 plus hours per year. So it's easy, those volunteer hours, because these individuals typically are so excited to get involved, they really do rack up quickly.
That's excellent. And, the Master Gardeners created a great example, especially for me, working with the folks that I worked with to get the Master Naturalist program started. It was inspiring to see what Master Gardeners were putting in. And it really made me confident that 40 hours required for our Master Naturalists would probably not only be not too much, but people would probably go over.
What type of volunteer services do Master Gardeners do?
So we do a lot. The county programs are slightly different. So there are different opportunities based on community need in each of the counties. And we also allow Master Gardeners to be as creative as they want to be. And so sometimes Master Gardeners will present proposals to us, or they'll create projects that they think are needed in the county and they'll present them to us. And there's a lot of diversity that presents itself in the end. So we do have more formal committees where you can get involved, like workshops, giving presentations at libraries and community centers, technical assistance in the garden. We have demonstration gardens at each of the county, which are maintained by our Master Gardeners, and more importantly, are an outdoor classroom for a lot of our events. We also have a focus on youth education. So in each of the counties, there are opportunities for interested Master Gardeners to get involved in teaching youth. In Newcastle County, we have a program called the Junior Gardener Program that goes into the schools. Of course, we're not doing that right now, but we have provided a remote alternative. And then there are other programs downstate that have a youth education focus as well. We have events, public outreach events, like Ag Day, which is coming up at the end of April, where Master Gardeners have plant sales and provide information to the public on all things gardening. So there's just a ton of opportunity. So depending on your interests, you can get involved in many, many different things.
Right. So you get to pick and choose, it sounds like, and there seems to be a lot of options is what they can do.
Yeah, and I think what we try to do during training is provide exposure to as many different opportunities as possible. And the hope is that you find a match. So if there is a volunteer who's interested, for example, in native plants, there is probably, I won't even say probably, there is a project that's focused on native plants, or the demonstration garden where we're featuring native plants. And so that volunteer may find a good match with that particular area. And then same with other volunteers who bring certain passions to the training, trying to find what and where they'd really like to invest their time is something that we try to do during that 3-month period where we have their full attention.
Do you guys still have the garden helpline? And if you do, how can people make use of that?
We do have a garden helpline. Each county has a helpline number that you can call. If you go to the University of Delaware website, you should be able to find the phone numbers there. It is operating a little bit differently because of the pandemic. So we just ask our clientele to give us a couple days wiggle room so we can have enough time to get back to you with your gardening questions. And I just want to reiterate what Carrie said. You said everything wonderfully. And the fact that each county operates differently is something that I think is really, it's great about our program. Everyone that lives in Delaware knows that all 3 counties are different. So therefore, the fact that our program reflects that just says, what our community needs are in each county. So, just because Newcastle has one thing doesn't necessarily mean Kent will have the same, but we might have a different committee that Newcastle doesn't feature. So it's really a very unique process in the fact that each county does operate a little bit differently with the same mission and goals in mind.
Yeah, I think that's great, Megan, to mention. And then the other thing too that I'll mention is that the COVID has really provided an opportunity for us to strengthen the statewide relationship. Because we've been able to connect remotely, we've been able to tie the counties together more frequently than we have in the past. I mean, we've always had opportunities throughout the year to get the counties together, whether it's for advanced training, tours, field trips, the more social aspect of Master Gardeners, but especially since we've been on Zoom, we've had a real opportunity to get the Master Gardeners in all of the counties together to do some work that we haven't been able to do in the past. And again, just to connect with one another and see what each other is doing and put names to faces and provide that social experience as well. So that's been really nice. The other thing that I'll mention too, Blake, that's a great question about the garden line, which is still operating in each of the counties. And we also have diagnostics, and that too is functioning differently right now. But there is a group of master gardeners in each of the counties who is there to evaluate plant and insect specimens that come into our office, whether folks are seeking identification of a plant or an insect, or maybe they have a problem in their garden and they're able to bring in a sample. We do have master gardeners that have that interest and who specialize in evaluating specimens and then getting back to homeowners, community members with information on how to move forward. So that's a really unique area of master gardeners in which there's a lot of involvement.
With the different counties, do you have to volunteer in the county that you live in, or can you jump to a county? Because say I live down the southern end of Smyrna, but I'm still in Newcastle County. Can I join the Kent County Master Gardeners?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we ask that you volunteer your time in the county in which you train. So no, to answer your question, if you train in Kent County and then you volunteer in Kent County.
Okay.
If you train in Newcastle, then you volunteer in Newcastle. And we really do encourage that if you're a resident of a certain county, that you train in that county. There may be some exceptions to that, some reasons why someone might find it more convenient to be somewhere else. And then as coordinators, we typically discuss that. The other thing that we have happen is, at least for me in Newcastle, right, we get folks from Maryland and Pennsylvania. And that's absolutely okay. We definitely welcome them to our program, but same thing. If you're going to train with us, then you do have to volunteer in Newcastle County.
A lot of us, we do our job because we're like people. So what are some of the inspiring experiences you've had since you've been part of this program as far as dealing with master gardeners? What are some inspiring experiences? Can you share some with us?
So I want to say right now that the Master Gardener program has shown me how resilient our volunteers are. When the pandemic hit, they really rallied together to work on this digital platform to still be able to expand the outreach to our communities. They didn't miss a beat when I was like, I don't know what we're going to do about our workshops. Like, they were like, well, let's kick it off. Let's do this. And every online workshop that we have done has gotten better and better and better. And we fix the glitches and we figure out what works and what doesn't work. And they really have just done a wonderful job, continuing our mission. And, some, I will say, some were hesitant and they're not really, they're like, we'll join back when we get back in person. And that's fine. And that's fine too. But they really have shown their dedication and willingness to adapt and change, to still be able to educate our constituents. So it's really been a testament to their commitment to the program. I'll also say, to me, another one is all of the master gardeners that train, they think they have to know everything. And something that really resonates with me is Tracy says it all the time. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know where to find the information. And that really eases a lot of the worries that master gardeners have. For example, you're on a helpline. You never know really what kind of questions you're going to get from a specific individual. And that's okay. And it's okay to not know the answer right away, because you can do the research and then get back to the person. And, it's really just a wonderful program, and I'm lucky to be a part of it. And we have so many different interests and so many different levels of knowledge within our program. We're lucky. I feel lucky. I know Carrie probably does as well. They're just a great group to work with.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I can reinforce everything that Megan just offered. Our master gardeners during the pandemic have been a shining star. They have risen to the challenge of learning technology that they may not have been that familiar with, risen to the challenge of creating new opportunities for our communities online. They've done recordings, they've developed new publications, they've offered Zoom workshops and presentations, and really been uncomfortable at times in figuring out how to do that. And we are so grateful for their commitment. And they're so loved. They are so loved by our community and the people that we serve. It is such a pleasure to be a part of the programs that they offer, because you can see when people come into into the room, in this case, more recently, a Zoom room, just how excited they are to be in the presence of an experienced master gardener who can help them think about how to garden better or how to select plants, or maybe can help them with a problem that they're having. It really is a special experience. It's a special position within Extension to work with volunteers, especially master gardeners, and to be a part of that information exchange and just respect that our community has for this group of trained volunteer educators. The other thing that I'll mention is that they are family, absolutely. So they are family to each other. There is a camaraderie that develops during the training within the class that you're a part of, but then that leaks out into the larger group. They are there when each other gets sick. They are there when each other needs a helping hand. They are there for just about anything for each other, carpooling, taking their Master Gardener colleagues to the doctor. I mean, they really do help each other out and just provide warmth and comfort and love to each other that sometimes isn't there for some people. And then they treat Megan, Tracy, and I like family, absolutely. You know, I think back to when I was pregnant with Tegan, who is my daughter, who is now 11. And man, like that entire year, I was completely pampered by Master Gardeners. I had so many knit sweaters and caps and blankets that I couldn't even count. I mean, they just, you know, they become family to you. And on the flip side of that, I meet their children sometimes and they're like, oh yeah, Carrie, we know all about you. You know, you're a common topic at the dinner table kind of thing. And so, you know, that's how much they appreciate our program, that they're talking about it with their families and their families become a part of it. I think, you know, the other thing that I'll mention, and then I'll stop talking, is that we have experienced losses within the Master Gardener program. There are Master Gardeners who have been with us for a very long time. We grow with them into their older age. And unfortunately, sometimes we experience Master Gardener loss, and it's incredibly difficult because you've worked closely with that individual for such a long time. And then sometimes they're no longer there. And their families will often contact us after they've passed away to let us know just how important the Master Gardener program was to their mother or father, or to their sister or brother, depending on, you know, what the relationship was to that individual. It's just a really unique program. We've got a lot of love.
She's so right, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like the Master Gardeners are such a close-knit family. And in Delaware, we're really lucky because we're small,
Yes.
but we're mighty. So, you know, we're so small that the Master Gardeners have an intimate relationship with us, but, you know, they also, you know, really get the job done. So I think well said on everything. Carrie, that was perfect, because that's exactly how I feel about my group of volunteers as well.
Yeah, I know you do. And I know Tracy does too.
Thank you. That's awesome. I mean, it just goes to show you what you guys have been able to help build there and how valuable each one of those master gardeners are to Delaware as a whole. You guys have an upcoming training, right? You got some training coming up in the fall?
Yeah, so we're super excited. We're offering a fall training. It starts in September 8th, and it runs until November 22nd, just before Thanksgiving. We are holding the training on Mondays and Wednesdays. There are 3.5 hour sessions in the morning. And again, we'll cover a variety of topics and try to cram as much information into that 3 months as possible. The application is online now. There is an application process, again, depending on the county needs and also the capacity of the county. You know, we can only select so many master gardeners to participate in the training, but definitely encourage anyone who might be interested to learn more online about the program and also the training program.
Wonderful. And so we're also going to put the website up for Master Gardeners, so where they can go to find more information. Also, they can contact you as well if they have additional questions. Is that
Yes,
correct?
absolutely. Blake, I probably should mention too that we are planning for training via Zoom, but we do have hope that we'll be able to hold in-person sessions peppered throughout the training, especially for the field trips.
I'm right there with you. I'm the type of person who loves to be hands-on and in person and interacting. So I really hope that you're able to do that. But I know how valuable, especially, you know, my experience with Master Naturalists, you know, we're brand new and we've only had one in-person lecture since the program began. So I know how important Zoom has been for us and being able to offer that has been a huge thing, which I'm sure it is for your Master Gardeners
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
With that, unless Blake and Dan have anything to add, Carrie and Megan, do you guys have any final thoughts for us? Either one of you can go first. You've done a great job of pitching your experiences and how great and the plentiful opportunities there are for Master Gardener volunteers. So I think hopefully we can get some interest from listeners here. But yeah, if there's any final thoughts, go ahead now.
Definitely. I think if you are interested in becoming part of the Master Gardener family, you should definitely apply. They're a great group of people to work with, and our mission is pretty solid. We're just sharing sustainable gardening practices that are proven through university research to the community. And if that sounds like something you're interested in doing, I encourage you to sign up.
And I would just say, if you're not interested in becoming a Master Gardener, but you're interested in the services that Master Gardeners offer, that information is also online, from the workshops that we offer to the plant diagnostics service, garden line, demonstration gardens, all that good information that we've mentioned today. It's online, or you can contact us for more information on how to get connected.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and will join us next time. In the meantime, visit us online at udel.edu/extension, join our mailing list, and join us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at UD Extension. This program is brought to you by the University of Delaware Cooperative Extension, a service of the UD College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, a land-grant institution. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.